You swipe, you tap, you pinch 2 fingers to zoom, and the glass obeys instantly, almost like it can read your mind. But look closely, because it's really just a smooth sheet of glass, with no buttons and nothing moving underneath. Press it with the end of a pencil, or through the sleeve of your jacket, and nothing happens at all. So how does the glass know it's your finger, and exactly where you touched? Here's the first surprise. It isn't feeling you push. Older screens worked that way. The ticket machine, the old car navigator, where you had to press down hard enough to feel a little click. Your phone is nothing like that. You can brush it feather-light, barely grazing the surface, and it still answers instantly. And it isn't sensing the warmth of your finger either. It's something stranger than pressure and stranger than heat. Just under the glass, there's an invisible net, a grid of impossibly thin, see-through wires, running in rows and columns, like a sheet of graph paper you can't see because it's far too fine and too clear to notice. And this whole net is quietly holding a tiny electric charge, spread evenly across every crossing point, just sitting there, waiting for something to disturb it. Now here comes the clever part, and it's all about you. Your body is mostly salty water, and salty water carries electricity beautifully. So when your fingertip comes close to the glass, it quietly pulls a little of that charge away, right at that one spot, like dipping a straw into a full glass and stealing a single sip. But your phone isn't really watching your finger at all. Instead, it races across the grid, asking every single crossing point the same question, thousands of times a second. How's your charge? Full, full, full. And then one point answers back, a little low. That dip is you. That's the exact spot your finger is touching, found not by seeing it, but by noticing where the charge quietly went missing, which is why a glove ruins everything. If this were about pressure, a gloved finger would work just fine, but it doesn't, because the fabric blocks the electrical path and the grid feels absolutely nothing. And yet, strangely, a cocktail sausage works perfectly. So does a wet finger, because it was never really about a finger. It's about anything that can carry your charge and steal that little sip. Skin, water, sausage. To the grid, they're all the same thing. And because it's a grid of rows and columns, it can spot more than one low point at the very same time. That's the secret behind pinch to zoom. 2 fingers, 2 little sips, 2 dips in the charge, and the phone simply watching the gap between them stretch open and squeeze shut. Every gesture you make is really just the phone tracking where the charge keeps disappearing, which also explains the glitches. A drop of water conducts electricity too, so in the rain or with wet hands, the screen suddenly feels touches you never made. The cursor jumps, things open on their own, the phone taps itself. Same reason as always, it simply can't tell your finger from any other conductor sitting on the glass. And underneath all of this, 2 jobs are happening at once, whether they sit in 2 separate layers or are built into the very same panel. One job is making the picture, all the colors you see. The other does nothing but listen to that grid, thousands of times a second. One part shows, the other one feels. One talks, the other quietly listens. Which is why it always seems like the glass just somehow knew. So here's the whole thing in 3 beats. An invisible grid under the glass, charged and waiting. Your finger steals a tiny sip of that charge at one single spot, and the phone finds you by hunting for the point where the charge dropped, which means next time you tap that glass and it answers before you've even finished the thought, you'll know the truth. It never felt you press, and it never really felt you at all. It felt your electricity. If you learned something new today, subscribe for more.